don't know what that guy was on, but can you prove to me that God is imaginary?
Yeah. So when I say God's imaginary, what I'm saying is it's most likely not the case that God does not exist. Reason being, problem of evil, divine hiddenness, the omni paradoxes. There's all kinds of there's lack of evidence. So those are reasons why I think God doesn't exist.
Okay. Let's talk about divine hiddenness. I would love that topic. So what's your argument? I guess from that topic.
Essentially, um, why doesn't God reveal Himself more to people? Right? Could God reveal Himself to us?
Well, in what way are you? Oh, in what way are you talking about?
Look, does God want a relationship with us?
Uh, yeah, you can say that.
Okay. Does God have the ability to reveal Himself to us?
Yeah, yeah, you can say that.
Okay. So why doesn't God reveal Himself to us?
Well, I guess that question assumes that he didn't.
Oh, so you're saying there was a time where He did, but then He vanished?
Well, that's why I asked you, like, in what specific way do you mean when you?
In any way, why can't God reveal Himself to us such that we know He exists?
Well, I would say like, yeah, well, he does. I would say that he reveals his glory.
So then why are there people who are still convinced? Couldn't God reveal Himself in a way that people would know He existed? Couldn't God do that?
Well, it's a difference between knowing and believing. You could say, I could say, yeah. I mean, he could reveal himself in a way that I guess you know he exists, but then again, it's like, what does it mean to know something?
Knowledge is just having a true justified belief in something, right? So does couldn't God reveal Himself in a way that we would know He exists? We had good confidence in His existence. It seems like there are people in this world who are genuine, who really want a relationship with God, yet are not getting it from God. Why? Why do those people exist?
Well, it's very possible that, well, to be honest, in my worldview, I believe that everyone knows God exists, but people choose to deny him. That's just what I believe.
Well, that doesn't really matter, right? You can have that belief, but that's not even relevant to my position. Whether or not we deny God, God still could have came down and given us knowledge of His existence, undeniable knowledge of His existence. Why couldn't God do that for us, for anybody?
Well, I guess you're assuming that he didn't, and I just not convinced that he didn't. So can you like, because
Well,
I think,
why are there billions of people who don't believe in your God? Right? It seems unlikely that 6 billion people on the planet don't believe in your God,
well,
yet
it's
you claim that He has revealed Himself to everybody. Right? So this is a huge fucking assertion to make that He revealed Himself to every person on the planet, yet most of us don't believe in your God. That seems really weird and strange to me.
well, I could argue that it has nothing to do with divine hiddenness because there's people who do believe in God, and it's like, if God has not revealed himself, I mean, how is it possible that people even believe in him in the first place?
Because, well, that's trivial because people took the tradition and passed it down to their kin over many generations. And it was forced. The Romans forced Christianity on people. They would kill people if they didn't become Christian. So we know that why we know why Christianity exists. I'm asking you, why doesn't God reveal himself to us today? Why is he hiding from us? It's such a stark reason. It's a stark, it's so clear and obvious to us that he's hiding himself.
Well,
There's
first
six
off,
billion people who don't believe. You're telling me all those 6 billion people are just simply denying God? That seems highly unlikely.
well, there's many factors that come into play as to why people don't believe in God. It doesn't have to be specifically because they didn't see him, even though no one can
I'm
really
not
see
saying
God.
see, right? There's no revelation. There's no hint or sign of or evidence of God anywhere, according to 6 billion people. Why? Why is this? If God can do it and he wants to do it, if God wants a relationship with me, what's stopping him from coming down and saying, "Hey, Mike, I'm here"?
Um, because okay, if he revealed himself in a way in which you were forced to believe, then really you wouldn't follow him out of love. You would just follow him out of fear.
How would we be forced to believe in God?
Well, if he revealed himself in a way in which like we just 100% know, like I have no other choice but to believe in God, right? Like it's like if someone walked up to me and gave me a purple ball, right? I have no other choice but to believe that there's a purple ball right in front of me, right? I can't just.
But you could deny it. You could just deny that,
Oh,
right?
but
You can
that's
still
that's
deny
just
it.
being delusional.
You can still deny it. Even if you have a ball in front of you, you can still deny it exists, right?
Right? But that's just being delusional at that point.
But my point remains: you're not forced to believe in something. You can
Well,
still choose to deny it.
what I mean by force is like it's gonna be very. It's either yeah, you're just gonna accept that God exists, right?
Right.
Or you're just gonna you're
You're
just
either
gonna
going
be
to be convinced or you're not going to be convinced. There's no forcing. You can't force
no, it's
someone to
not.
believe in something. That's not possible. However, it is possible to be convinced or deny something. But Mari, do you think that there are people out of the 8 billion people on the planet, do you think there are genuine people who don't want to deny God and really want to see God? Do you agree that those are those kind of people out there?
Yeah, there's those people out there.
Right, but they're still unconvinced, right? So why would that happen? Why would they be unconvinced and willing to see God, but God doesn't reveal himself to them? Why not?
Well, I would just say because God wants them to continuously seek and have faith.
Well, if that's you're going to say he wants to do that, but how about the other people that are convinced of God because of a revelation, precisely because of a revelation they had of God? So it appears as if God has favorites, right? God is picking and choosing who he wants to show himself to for what reason. This seems like a ridiculous, childish God who doesn't want a relationship with us.
Well, that's to exclude all the people from, well, exclude all the people who do believe in God, not because of revelation, but because of faith. Like there's millions of people who believe in God, not because they seen, heard, or felt God, but it's because they had faith in what.
You didn't understand what I told you, right?
Yeah, no, I understand what you told me.
Look, what you're trying to say. Your excuse was, oh well, God is just waiting for them to 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 make sense to my existence. He wants to make them seek me further. But how about the other people that God revealed Himself to? Like when he resurrected that time, like a zombie, and he said, "Hey guys, I'm here, Jesus, the Son of God." Why why did he allow those people to see him directly? Remember 500 witnesses? Why did God allow those people to see him directly, but everybody else, oh no, they have to seek him? This is ridiculous to me. This does not seem like a God who wants a relationship.
Well, okay, again. Well, everybody's going to be seeking regardless, but even if they did see, but it's like, I was just responding to what your statement. You said, well, seems like there's people that believe because, revelation, but then, God doesn't reveal himself to anybody else. Well, again, that's just assuming. Like, I believe God's glory is revealed in creation. And so it's like, he's not really hiding that.
Okay, so now you're going to simply assert that God's creation is his creation. That's an assertion you're making. That's not convincing us, right? But God, guess who does know how to convince me that he exists? God. God knows exactly how to convince me that he exists. So God could do that. God could reveal himself in a way to me such that I would have to believe, or I would be more likely to believe in him. That would be a sign of somebody who wants a relationship, not somebody who throws us into this playground and says nothing to us, who gives us a book and says, go ahead, guys, learn on your own, and never reveals himself to us ever, and just kind of hides up there in heaven going, yep, watch them seek me, right? That seems like precisely the opposite, completely antithetical to a God who would want a relationship with me. And this is precisely the problem of divine hiddenness.
Well, let's say, let me give you an analogy. It's like this, right? Because you're saying, well, why doesn't God just come up to me, be like, hey, Mikey, it's me. Okay, so would you want, let's say that you had a, I guess, significant other, right? Or actually no. Let's say you wanted somebody, right? You had somebody that you liked in mind, right? Would you want to, like, would you stalk them like everywhere until they be like, okay, no, like, I love you? Or would you like
It's
give
irrelevant. This
them
is
a slight?
irrelevant. This is irrelevant. The logistics
It's
of
not
how God
irrelevant.
reveals. Look, Mari, the logistics as to how God reveals himself is irrelevant because God's all powerful, right? He can reveal himself in a way such that is perfect, so that I can be convinced on my way, in my way. And God knows that way. So the logistics are irrelevant here because God knows how to precisely convince me in the way that's perfect for me. So
That's
try again.
perfect for,
Try
but how
again.
do you
Try
know he
again.
hasn't done that? How do you know he hasn't done that already?
Because I'm not convinced.
Well, but wait, hold on. Remember the hypothetical I gave you with the purple ball. You even said it yourself that someone can just deny even clear evidence
Yeah, you're
and be
right. Yeah, you're
delusional.
right. People can deny God, but there are people, like you said before, there are people out there who don't want to deny God, who are genuinely looking for God, right?
But how do you know you're not being delusional?
You're right. It doesn't this argument doesn't just apply to me. I'm talking about in general. There are people who still exist who want a relationship with God, yet are genuine. Do you agree?
Wait, you just, I mean, yes. But
Okay,
again,
so then for those people who exist who are not convinced of God, yet are not willing to deny God, who want to know if he exists,
well,
why
well,
aren't they convinced?
well, maybe it's possible that they're being delusional as well.
What do you mean they're being delusional? They're
Um,
okay. If you want to say they're being delusional, are there people who are not delusional who are still not convinced of God?
well, I would just say no, I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
So you think every person on the planet who doesn't believe in God is delusional?
Um,
Are you willing to bite this bullet?
well, look, you even said, right? I asked you, how do you know you're not being delusional? You said, well, you could be right. So it's like maybe God has convinced you in a way which would make which would be enough for you to believe, but you're just denying it anyways. Just like how somebody could walk up to me with a purple ball, and maybe like I want to see a purple ball, and maybe somebody has shown me a purple ball, but then I just be like, well, no, like I don't believe I've seen the purple ball. So it's like, yeah, since God has revealed himself in creation, I believe everybody who doesn't believe in God is just
No,
delusional.
stop saying he revealed himself in creation. That's utter garbage. That's irrelevant to this conversation. And there is no fucking creation. So stop saying that. I'm asking for why doesn't God reveal himself to people who are genuine and not delusional people?
There are no people who are not delusional that doesn't believe in God.
Okay, so you think that every person who does not believe in God is somehow mentally ill.
Not mentally ill, no. Delusional.
Okay, so then they're not delusional then.
No, mentally ill doesn't mean you're delusional, bro. What are you talking
Well,
about?
delusion is a form of illness. It's a form of, being ill.
No, no,
Oh,
it's not.
okay. So then what is delusion to you? How are we delusional?
It's just denying clear truth.
How? How would we deny it?
Uh, by not accepting
How would
it.
you know that we're denying it?
If this truth is present, and you say that it's
Yeah. How
not,
do you know? So this come back to square one. How do you know the truth is present? And then how do you know the truth is present? And then how do you know that we're denying it? Right. This is a huge burden for you to demonstrate.
well, where do you even get truth from?
Truth is just a descriptor for what exists or what corresponds to reality.
Okay,
A nice pivot, though.
I'm not pivoting. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna run a precept argument on you.
Good.
But
So, can you answer the question?
so yeah,
How do you know
so
that? How do you know that God? How do you know that truth is God? And that how do you know that we're denying it? This is a heavy burden.
well because you're it's just you. I mean, you admitted yourself that it's possible that you're being delusional, so you don't even know, right?
Well, how do you know? That's the problem. You could be delusional too about your God claim being correct.
Well,
So
I don't believe that.
it's such a ridiculous. This is why it's a ridiculous position to go. Everybody's delusional except for me. That seems preposterous, right? It doesn't, and it does not attack my argument. You're just making an excuse. Oh, maybe you're delusional. It still
Well,
doesn't attack the reason why God doesn't reveal himself in a way. Even if I was delusional.
well, no, because by you, no. If you admit that you are being delusional, then you are
I never
simply
did.
saying
I
that
actually
you
never
are
did.
okay with denying truth. You denying truth.
I don't think I'm delusional, so I don't know why you're asserting that.
No, I'm not asserting that. I'm saying if you admit that. If that's why I said if.
Yeah, I'm never admitted I was delusional. I don't think I'm delusional. But
Okay.
do you have a reason as to why God isn't revealing himself to us?
Do I have a
Or
reason as
not?
to why? Well, no, you're just assuming he didn't, but that's all I have to say.
But that doesn't do anything for you, right? You're still not attacking the argument.
How does it not do anything for me?
Well, if you're gonna say that everybody's delusional, and you're gonna just deny the fact that there could be some people out there who are not delusional for some reason, you have to show me why you think everybody is delusional. For what reason, and how do you know we're delusional? Right? That's a heavy burden for you to demonstrate.
Well, I know that you're delusional because God exists, buddy. That's all I have to say.
That's question begging.
It's not question begging, bro.
Yes, it is. You're asserting God exists.
Well, I mean, I thought this whole argument is already assuming that he does.
No, it's not.
So, with that being said, then, um, how does the divine hiddenness just because God how does it logically follow then that God does not exist?
Well, it would render it unlikely that God does exist because if God wants a relationship with us and is capable of doing so, but doesn't do it, that is evidence against theism. Your kind of theism.
So then are you a deist?
No, I'm not a deist. Now, can you actually provide a counter or
Well, why are you not a deist then? If you because
because
can you disprove God's existence at all? Because
what do
that
you mean
doesn't.
by God? To me, God is ill-defined. We're talking about the Christian God, right? The
Okay.
Christian God is simply one who wants a relationship with us, personal kind of God, right? That's what the divine hiddenness argument is attacking, that particular version of God. And that's why that seems a bit unlikely to me.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to look into the argument more because, to be honest, this is my first time hearing it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, appreciate you being honest. Everybody keep tapping. Hi, how are you? Hello? I handled that well, thank you. Keep tapping, guys. Let's get to 1,000 people. And by the way, I'm not like the other creators. I don't every 5 seconds say cash app, cash app. I'm not gonna say thank you for the galaxy every 2 seconds. So you don't gotta worry about that shit. Hey, how are you?
Hey. Hello?
Hi, do you have an argument for God?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have an argument. I'm just going to state why I think he believes. And why is that? I'm not really here to argue. I'm just saying that I believe that the world was made by a creator. And, like, for example, like, if you look into, like, the solar system, I believe it's so, like, perfectly made. I believe there's, like, an intelligent mind behind that. Like, for example, that if we were closer to the sun, we would all, like, die of how hot it is, but if we were a planet away, we would all freeze to death. So that's why I think it's from like an intelligent mind.
Well, by how much do we have to be closer to the sun to burn up?
I mean, I'm not sure, but I feel like it's so perfectly placed. I don't know.
No, there is no perfect place. So when you assume that the Earth is in perfect orbit around the sun, this assumes that there's an imperfect version of that. And there is no imperfect version of a planet around the sun versus the Earth. There are billions of other planets out there. We just happen to be in one where life is able to thrive. There's billions of other possibilities, right? So I don't see why this is evidence of God when there's other possible alternatives that exist in which life could exist, even perhaps better than our type of life on Earth. It's not just the distance that matters, it's the atmosphere. There's many other factors that go into factoring if there's could be life there. Um, so this argument against the Earth being perfectly tuned is complete nonsense because there's other possible alternatives. Okay, so the next guy. Hi, how are you? Hello? Possible isn't facts. Look, the point is that there are other worlds that are possible that could have life depending no matter how far away they are from the sun, right? In fact, there is other planets out there that could have life that is more abundant on their planet than ours. There is nothing in the universe that says Earth itself is special. That's the point I was trying to get to, and that's what his argument was. There's no way There's nothing in the laws of physics of this world that show that Earth is special.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Hi, can you lower down the TV for us, please?
Yeah, I got you right now. All right, is that better?
Yes. What do you got?
Well, I wanted to ask, like, what's like your kind of main point or stance, like, in this subject? But yeah, besides the obvious, like what is kind of your main thesis?
God. I don't believe in God. Do you have evidence for God?
Okay. Well, when you say evidence, obviously you're asking for something that proves that he is absolute and that it is real, even though you don't believe, or
I'm looking for evidence, not proof, right? Evidence raises the likelihood of something being true or not. I'm just looking for any hint or sign of God existing.
well, I believe that God is so good that if you purposely close your mind and your spirit to the possible truth that even if he's real, you're not gonna see it. Like
So I
I
don't.
can.
So when you say if he's real, I don't know what you mean by he. If he is real, what do you mean by God? It's ill-defined, right? Do you mean like an imaginary friend? You
Well,
mean like
when I
Barney?
say he is in, God doesn't have a gender, so when we say he is in his spirit,
I don't know what that a spirit is, right? I can't. What do you even mean by that? That's just words.
a spirit is like a transcendental form of our flesh and bones, but you can technically consider it as in another dimension, if that makes sense.
It doesn't make sense. I don't know what that even means. You're just making up words right now.
Well, we deviated a little from my question earlier that if you're looking for something evidence that he is real, even if you purposely close yourself to him.
I don't know what closing myself off to God means versus not. I was a Christian for 20 years, right? I wanted God to be real for 20 years of my life. I'm not convinced by God's existence. Can you demonstrate God and define God for us today?
Well, my point for that earlier statement was that I can show you all the evidence in the world, but if you purposely are
Okay,
closed
then give
to
us
it,
evidence for God. Give us evidence for God.
well, we can go either to the biblical scriptures or personal experience.
Okay, the two worst possible arguments ever. First of all, my critique of the Bible is a story. It's unfalsifiable. It's a storybook that anybody can write. Personal experiences are also unfalsifiable, which means they can't be evidence. Unless you can, verify that you experienced God touching you, I can't help you there. I mean, go ahead and you can tell us what your experience was, but
Well, the reason why I don't say it is because of what you just said. Because, for example, you can tell me yesterday that you had a dream of eating chocolate ice cream, but you can't prove that to me. You can tell me a billion times that that was your dream and describe it detail by detail. But because there is no, like, tangible way for me to see your dream, even though you attest 100% that that's the truth, I can't see it. Right.
well,
So that's
first
why
of
I don't
all,
go with personal experiences. But
First of all, there is a way to verify. There is a way to falsify dreams. We can hook you up to an fMRI machine, and we can actually see thoughts. We can actually now see thoughts on an fMRI. But more importantly, your experience with God is by definition unfalsifiable because how do you know that it's God you're experiencing and not something natural, right? How do you distinguish those two things, those two experiences, God and nature? How do you tell the difference?
like, how do you tell the difference between God and nature? I'm just confused as to your point as to like what we were talking about earlier with the
Like, so
dream.
for example, if I am having sex with my girlfriend and I feel great, I feel a great experience, right? My brain's lighting up, I'm happy. I'm having an experience, right? And we explain that through natural reasons, right? We explain that through dopamine, chemicals in my brain. That's explained. But when it comes to God, something by definition supernatural, beyond nature, how do you know that it's not God? How do you know that your experience with God is actually God and not just something natural, like a chemical in the brain?
Well, I can give you a small example since you ask. It says, "Ask and you shall receive, and if you ask for wisdom, he shall give it to you." And I realize that I don't want to get too into it because, like I said, I could explain so many things, but if you choose not to believe, you won't. But
Okay, so
I
let's try it.
realize that,
Let's try it. God, I want wisdom.
amen. And if you just open your heart humbly and you just have the you can tell him anything. You can tell him that you don't believe he's real. But
God, I
back to
don't
what
believe
I
you're
was.
real, God. I don't believe you're real, but I want your wisdom.
Amen. May he hear you.
Amen. Okay, when's he gonna show up?
This is what I mean. He knows your heart. Like at this very moment,
Is he
he
coming soon?
knows.
Is he the next 5 minutes? Is this like Uber Eats? Is he coming on? Is he on the way? Is he gonna give me a signal?
He doesn't have to come. He's already there. My point is,
Oh, okay, that's the problem. How do you know he's there? How do I know that God is there right now?
my point is regarding to the wisdom thing earlier. I realized that you can believe it if you want. It can fall on deaf ears, but I'm still gonna
I
tell
don't
you.
want to believe. I want to know. So give me evidence of God or go away.
So if okay, so if you want to believe, right? If God is like you mentioned earlier, supernatural, how do you expect as a human, when humans can't answer our own questions as to how everything began, how do you expect to understand and know God?
Just because there are some things we do not know doesn't mean that God is more likely to exist. When we don't know something about reality, we say we don't know and we walk away. We don't continue saying, "Well, there's some things I don't know, therefore God." That's an argument from ignorance.
No, I believe that. Like, I obviously believe in scientific things. I obviously believe that it is a study, that is important to understanding life, right, from our language. What I'm saying is, how are you gonna believe? How are you gonna fully? Because you want, it's like you want to absolute proof that he's real, and you want to
No,
know.
I just want some evidence of God. Any evidence will do.
Well, besides the wisdom, if you
What wisdom? I didn't get any wisdom yet. I'm actually getting my brain cells are actually dying. I'm losing wisdom.
Well, this is what I mean. Like he, he knows you're not truly seeking. He knows that you're just testing him
So
if
okay,
he's
so when I
real.
was a
If that
Christian for
makes sense.
20 years, that didn't count. When I
Well,
really believed in God for 20 years, that didn't count.
I'm not refuting that. I'm just saying that.
Okay, then stop saying that I'm not seeking God. I'm looking for evidence. So give me evidence. If you can't give it, just tell me.
Well, that's why actually, what was your first take on this? You said it was just you don't believe in God, right? But now you're seeking for evidence that so there's a
Yeah.
possibility,
Yeah, give me evidence. We're waiting for it.
brother. This is what I can tell you. Like from a place of love, I used to be the same.
Next.
Hey, what's up, man? Positive vibes your way. May all your wishes and dreams come true today.
Thank you.
You're
Enjoy
welcome.
your evening. Yappity yap yap, don't come back.
What's up?
Hi, how can we help you?
Hi, I just want to say I respect your opinion. You're valid to believe totally. I have family members that also believe that way,
Oh,
and
thank you. Thank you. But I don't give a shit
you're
about
right.
your belief. I don't care about your belief. I want evidence.
And that's okay. The
Okay, great.
evidence is the Bible is basically it's not one person that writes it. It's the accounts of other people that test witness to the accounts. So if one person was to lie about it, other witnesses would test to account. Said to the same way that the judiciary system works with how we do the jury. If one person fails that, then that also fails. The accounts
Okay.
to eyewitness is the book. It's not
Okay.
one person that writes it. The
So
lie
what you're
would be true if it
okay,
was one
so
person.
Fapper,
How can
where
a lie can't go through 5,000 years and with one person
Fapper?
to lie about it?
Right.
It
So
needs
where
eyewitnesses
right,
because
so
without the other eyewitnesses would count to
Yapper,
it. And
Yapper, Yapper.
all
So
right, sorry, you can talk.
where are these eyewitnesses? And where's the source of these witnesses?
I don't have the specific ones, but there's like Paul, he's a witness to Jesus and the friends to Jesus, and there's witnesses to those. There's witnesses to Moses. I'm not too
Oh,
inclined into
okay.
theology.
So when it comes to witnesses, you're right. Paul was a witness. That was coming from the Bible, right? The New Testament. We also have the Gospels, Mark, Matthew, Luke, John. Those are all in the New Testament, right? So what you have is a single source with multiple claims of witnesses. You don't actually have witness accounts. And those Gospels were not contemporary accounts of Jesus. They were dated from biblical scholars to be, 40, 50, 60, even 70 years after Jesus died. So you don't have any contemporary witnesses of God at all. You have a story that makes claims of witnesses, but that's the
Who
best
wrote
you
the
got.
story then? If you know the people that weren't there, then can you name the people that were there? Who was the person that wrote it
I
all?
don't believe anybody was there, sir. I think it's all made up.
So you
It's a fairy
think
tale.
that it was made by God then? If nobody wrote the book, then God wrote it?
No, people wrote it, but they were
Nobody
not
wrote the book.
witnesses
No, you
to it.
just said you think no human wrote the book. Nobody wrote the book. So
I
who
ne-
wrote the book?
When
You
did I
just said
ever
nobody wrote the
say?
book.
When did I ever say nobody
You just
wrote
said
it?
no one wrote the book.
No, I never said nobody wrote the book. What I'm saying is there are no witnesses that are real contemporary sources that we
Can you
can
prove that?
rely on.
Other than just saying that you don't believe there are witnesses, how can you prove that there aren't witnesses? By just disregarding all and the people that
The
have been
burden
listed?
of proof. Oh my gosh, the burden of proof is on you. You're making the claim that these people saw God. Look, if I told you
You
I
also have
saw,
to be able to disprove it. It goes
that's
both
not.
ways.
Yeah, that's
That's
not how
how
this
things
works.
work.
Yeah, that's not how this works. You're making
But
the
it does.
Hold on.
You need to also disprove.
Yapper, can I please explain?
You're also a yapper. Don't do
Okay,
name
then
calling.
listen to me. You're not
I've
listening.
been nice.
Okay. You're making the positive claim that God was witnessed. Your job is to
Jesus wasn't
demonstrate that
witnessed, but
claim.
Jesus is God.
I'm not saying I can disprove, but that doesn't mean you're correct. I'm looking for evidence, and the evidence you're providing is shit. Okay?
The evidence is Jesus. Did
No,
Jesus
that's
die on a cross?
I don't care if he died on a stick or a cross
But
or your mom's
it doesn't
back,
matter if you care or not. Did he? Yes or no?
exactly. It doesn't matter if I care. What matters is the evidence.
Exactly. Factual. Did Jesus die on a cross? Did
It
the
doesn't
Jews go
matter.
to
That's
No, listen
irrelevant.
to me. Listen. Did the Jews go to Rome to ask for permission to kill Jesus? Did that not happen?
I don't know. There's no evidence of that.
It did happen.
Prove it.
I don't have the name of the
Look,
mayor of Rome, but he was a
okay.
person, and he
Okay,
has
I'll
claims
grant you,
of saying that he disavows the Jews' killing,
Yapper,
but he will give them permission.
Yapper, I'll grant you that Jesus died on a stick. I'll grant you that. He's a shish kebab.
He's
But
real, and people fear the power that
I'm
he
asking
has.
now for evidence of God, right?
Jesus
Evidence.
is God. Do you know what the Holy Trinity is?
It's contradictory, yes. Now, can you give evidence of God now? Stop
Jesus
claiming
is
it.
God. That is it. You're not
Prove it.
understanding.
Prove it.
God. What is more to prove? Jesus is the Son of God. Jesus is the Son of the Father.
That's a claim. What's the evidence for that claim?
Mary got pregnant while being a virgin. That's the evidence. Can you prove that Mary wasn't a virgin?
Wait, do you actually believe somebody got pregnant without having sex?
By divine intervention, yes. Divine intervention is a real thing.
Okay, do you also believe in talking donkeys?
I believe in the Bible. If a angel comes down and gives that, then yes, I believe in it.
Okay.
I have full devotion.
Now,
You don't
Fapper,
do you know what giving yourself to Jesus Christ means?
you got it. There's no way you're real.
I am real. My name is Corey Drown. You can look me up. I live in
You got to
Sanford,
be a
Maine.
troll. You got to be a troll right now. You actually believe in fairy tales?
I believe in the Old Testament, the New Testament, the Torah.
Okay.
I'm a Catholic, Christian, Jew.
That was a troll for sure. Highly suspected troll.
Hello?
Hey, what do you got?
Hey, how you doing?
Great.
All right, so quick question. What are you joining this live from? Like a phone?
Yeah.
And who made the phone?
Some guy.
Some guy? So, what company?
Various companies. Why?
I see. So, if I told you the company didn't make that, all the screens and all of it just came down from the sky and it made the phone.
Okay. What about it?
Would you believe that?
No, I think that somebody made the phone for sure.
I see. So, would you say that the whole Earth, the human body, is this more complex or the phone you're joining from?
Well, the Earth is more complex, but how old are you?
I see. I'm 18,
What year were you born?
2006.
Okay. Yeah, so I agree that there's somebody making my phone. What's your
I
point?
see. And the world is more complex, right?
Correct.
So I'm just curious, is it logical to say that the world and the human body, which is way more complex than the simple phone, is it logical to say that just it came from science and like there isn't a creator behind it? Is that logical?
Yes, it's very logical because we know the process in which Earth was developed. It took millions of years of formation. Smaller rocks coalesced in space to become bigger rocks. There's a molten rock. It
So the
cooled down.
trillions of cells in a human body came from some rocks?
No, that's the Earth. The human body is the result of billions of years of evolution, which entails a chemical process, intricate organic compounds changing genetically over time. And this is something we can observe in labs and experiments. So yes, it is completely logical to think that the universe and the things within it have a natural explanation behind them.
I see, but see, I'm just not getting your point where a simple phone has to be made by somebody, an engineer, but the world doesn't have a creator,
Yeah,
or the things that are much
yeah,
more complex. I'm
because
just not seeing it.
yeah, because you're looking around the world and you're saying, "Wow, it's so complex, Mike. How do you explain this?" It's because there's a long history behind what you see around you,
Well,
right?
of course, but can you
Right.
just say this is
There's
so
four.
complex because
Look,
of the long history behind it? I just think that's simply illogical, Mike.
how is it logical when we know the process in which we evolved? It's through Big Bang cosmology, evolution, and all these things explain very well and thoroughly why we exist this way.
Exist in a way where trillions of cells, which each have a single purpose, see everything points to there being a creator.
Well, how about the fact that people choke to death on their water every day or every year? How about the fact that we get allergies, right?
I see.
Simple diseases that kill us all the time. How about a lot of fuck ups in our biology, cancer, right?
Yeah,
Mutations. These things are bad for us. Why would God design that? Why would that be a kind of good creation to make?
Mike, if your teacher in school gave you a test, right? Would they want you to just, would they give you the answers to it?
What? No, it
If you
wouldn't
were
give me.
taking a test, you wouldn't have the answers to the questions, right?
Yeah, that's my
Exactly.
teacher. My teacher is not omniscient like your God is.
So I'm saying, you're saying, why do we have all these bad things? See, there are some questions which I cannot answer for you. I'm simply just not at that point of knowledge.
Okay, I appreciate your honesty, but the problem is that was not an answer, right? Because now you're conceding you don't know why bad things occur, and then you're going to go ahead and assume it's created. If you're going to say that this is all created, well, then what's an uncreated entity? What does an uncreated universe look like versus a created world? And if you can't tell the difference,
What do you mean an
well, then both of
uncreated
us are
world?
at square one again.
Wait, what do you mean uncreated world?
That's the point. How do you tell creation from non-creation, design from non-design? How do you tell the difference?
I'm telling you from the beginning that when you look around you and with all the things we see, that just evolution and the Big Bang cannot be an answer for all this.
Oh, what's the Big Bang?
See, it's you can search up what the Big Bang is, but I'm telling
Oh,
you,
what's the Big Bang? I want to
you're
know what you
saying
think the
Big
Big
Bangs,
Bang.
it's what it collide, the rocks collide, and the whole universe is made. Is that what you like?
No, see, you're getting a bit flustered because you don't know what you're talking about, and that's okay.
Mm.
You're young. But the problem is you don't know what you're attacking. And before you critique something, please learn before you critique it.
I'm not critiquing. I'm
So
just trying to understand your knowledge of
you
like
are critiquing it. You're
your
saying
way of
it could not
thinking.
have been the case, right? The Big Bang is a simple model that attempts to explain the expansion of the known universe, the observable universe. It is not an explosion. It is not two rocks colliding.
Hmm.
It is a process in which the universe, as we know of, is expanding, and it still is expanding, right?
Hmm.
And we are fully capable and compatible with existing in this paradigm of Big Bang and evolution because we observe these things, right? We don't observe magic wizards going poof, let there be life, and poof, we never observe that.
Magic
What we
wizard.
do
So wait,
observe,
we're observing. That's your point. We're observing it.
we see and observe evolution in labs, in the fossil record, and in experiments.
Which experiments? Which labs?
Oh, Richard Linsky's in the 1990s. He took a species of E. coli and saw their speciation over about 60,000 generations. He's a biochemist, molecular biologist. You should go look at his work.
Oh, I will. That's very interesting. But see, I'm just still not seeing how this is pointing to how the human body and all this. I'm going back to everything. See, I'm not critiquing you. I'm just
Yeah.
really wondering how you can think that these things have to be man-made while just there isn't a creator for the world we live in, the body.
I understand where you're coming from, but you're missing so much context, right? You're missing all the context in which there's a process, a very elaborate processes that give rise to us today. Remember, 4 billion years of evolution, 4 billion years of small changes over time add up to very complex things, right? That's the
Well,
point.
how did this chain start then?
It didn't start. It's always occurring as far as we can see. There's no
When we
start to
go
the
back
universe.
and back and back, it has to point to something.
And not necessarily. It could go on forever. We don't know.
Well, no, we do, because if it goes back, it doesn't make sense. If it keeps going back,
Why not?
what
Why
does it
doesn't it
point
make
to?
sense? Why doesn't it make sense?
See, it all goes back. Evolution. It comes from something, right? Where did this start?
Oh, evolution's a process that happens two things. It's not like an object that just begins to exist. It's a process. It's always occurring. It just depends on what the medium is. But again, time can be infinite. I don't see actually any other way it could be.
Time
But
can be
this is irrelevant to God existing, right? Time could be infinite, or time can have a finite sense to it. Yet God still not exist.
God doesn't exist. Hey, that's
No,
your opinion.
I'm
And the thing
saying
is, at the end of the day, what I tell you won't matter because it's not. Your heart is blind at this point. It's
so
what I
what?
say.
My
What I
heart
say
doesn't
won't
have
matter.
my heart doesn't have eyes, so it can't be blind. It doesn't have eyes.
No, well, in the Quran it tells us it's not the eyes that are blind; it's the heart. And this is just a very clear like situation of that, or example of that.
Oh, okay. So I'm blind because
No,
I'm
you're
not
not
willing
blind
to
by
agree
any
with
means.
your. So I'm blind because I'm not willing to agree with your book of fables that was written 2,000 years ago by an ancient
I'm sorry,
go-getter who didn't know jack about science.
2,000 years ago.
Yeah, whatever, 1,400 years ago, whatever, in the desert, right? How are you expecting me to believe that shit? You don't even know what evolution is. You don't even know what you're critiquing.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. All right, man. I want you to really think about this, and yeah, have a good night, man.
It's the exit button on the bottom right. Maybe you should, get some glasses to see it more. Maybe you're suffering from a bit of blindness. Bottom right. All right, I'll get it for you. See, guys, that kid, he's a very nice kid. He's a smart kid. But this is something called a Dunning-Kruger. People who don't know much about the world, it seems from their perspective that they know a lot, so they get excessive pride and hubris and go out there and say, haha, you're an atheist, you're blind, right? But they're not understanding the full context, right? And that's fine. I used to be like that too. But this is a lesson for all of us to engage in real conversations and learn more about the world around you. It's important. Hi, how are you?
Hey, my friend, how you doing?
Great.
Yeah, nice to chat with you. Uh, but I had a question for you in regards to, you were talking about, Big Bang cosmology, and the question is always raised as to what initiated the Big Bang, and do
Quantum
you have
physics.
any theories on how the Big Bang took
Inflation.
place, or what caused
Inflation.
the Big Bang?
Inflation.
Inflation?
Yep.
And how would
Inflationary.
you describe that? Are you talking about a singularity?
No.
So
A
what
The
exactly do you
Big
mean
Bang
by
was
singularity?
called. The Big Bang is simply applied to a particular space and time called an inflaton field. This inflaton field comes with a specific wave function, a specific quantum field to it, which contains potential energy. And this potential energy can fluctuate. And certain fluctuations of this energy can yield space-times. They can yield universes like ours. Empty space, but full of energy in the quantum level, can yield universes. And this is something that Alan Guth proposed in 1979 with his inflationary theory model. And this is what idea. That's a very good explanation. It's not the best explanation we have. Well, it could be the best explanation we have, but there's competing ideas. But yeah, what is your contention today?
Well, I've heard the theory that it started from an extremely hot and dense state, which is referred to as the singularity, where all matter and energy were concentrated at a tiny point. But overall, my theory as a theist is that God was the being that initiated the Big Bang and got everything going into place.
Anybody can say
Have you heard
God
of
did it. I can say, Snuffleupagus did it, right? My mom did it, right? Anybody can say God did it. That's easy, right? But there's no evidence of God doing it. There's no evidence of God banging things.
Yeah, but I didn't say it was easy. Have you ever heard of the Kalam cosmological argument?
Unfortunately.
Why do you say unfortunately?
Because it's question begging and it's fallacious.
No, it's not. It has a premise and it has a conclusion. Everything that begins.
But it asserts the universe has a beginning. That's question begging.
No, the universe does have a beginning.
There you go. You just fell for it, right? No, we don't know if the universe has a beginning or not.
Yeah, but embedded in the Big Bang Theory is that the universe had a beginning and that time began to exist.
No, it does not
Space
say that.
and matter began to exist.
Oh, the Big Bang model. First of all, there is not just one. You're echoing. I'm sorry. You're echoing. There are many different Big Bang models, right? The Lambda model, the cold dark matter model. There's all kinds of different models. None of them say that the universe must have began at this moment or that time began. We don't know. Cosmologists don't know. Now, some might think that, but that's not necessarily the case. We do not know if the universe began. The Big Bang is still compatible with a finite or an infinite universe. So, can you demonstrate God exists now? You have to unmute.
What'd you say, my friend?
Can you demonstrate God exists for us?
Well, the first thing is that everything begins to exist has a cause. The universe begins to exist, therefore the universe has a cause. And so God being the uncaused first cause,
Okay. Look.
is outside of time and space.
Hold on. Hold on. Let's take it one step at a time. Even if I were to grant you that argument, which is completely fallacious, I just say,
How do you know it's fallacious?
Because we don't know if the universe began.
Yeah, but you're saying it's fallacious. So unless you are blessed with infinite knowledge, you cannot say that is impossible or that doesn't exist.
I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's question begging. It's not a sound argument, right?
It is a sound argument. The Kalam cosmological argument is a sound argument. Now, you might not like it or agree with it, but it's a sound argument based on sound logic and reason.
No, it is not. There's no evidence that the universe necessarily began. We don't know that.
And there's no evidence that it didn't begin, and there's no evidence of the reverse.
I agree. We don't know. That's why I'm saying we don't know. Therefore, your argument is unsound.
We present theories. Have you ever heard of the term inference to the best explanation?
You have to stop and listen to me. You have to stop and listen. There is no evidence. You just granted me. There's no evidence of a beginning to the universe. Number two, even if I grant you the beginning, it doesn't mean God did it. There could be a natural cause for the universe, a quantum field. As I just explained to you, that's a perfectly valid cause.
And what if I said, no, that's not a perfectly valid clause?
Demonstrate that. That's a claim.
Well, you demonstrate that it is a perfectly valid clause.
We can observe quantum fields, sir. We can observe quantum fields. They are not only observable, but it's a completely logically valid and consistent idea.
And we can observe background radiation noise as well.
And that doesn't mean that it began.
Oh man, sometimes our biases prevent us from, looking at things and necessarily saying that, okay, well, that is a valid argument, and I think
Your argument is
that's
valid,
what
but it
you're
does
doing.
not demonstrate God exists. Do you know
Yes,
the
it does.
difference?
Because if you follow the premise to its conclusion, then you would have to say that there was a creator to the
Oh,
universe.
where is creator or God in that argument? Which premise is God in?
You obviously didn't hear me what I said, or maybe you don't understand the
Okay, let's
cosmological
give me the
argument,
full syllogism. Give me the full syllogism of the Kalam argument with God inside of it.
because the cause of it in the cosmological argument is understood to be God, a
No,
necessary
do you know what a
and
syllogism is? Do you know what a
uncaused
syllogism is, sir?
and an uncaused first cause of existence.
Steve, do you know what a syllogism is?
Yeah,
Can you give me the syllogism for the Kalam with God in the premises?
I really don't understand the question because it is a theory,
Steve,
right?
don't let your biases get in the way, Steve. Do you know what
It
a
is a
syllogism is? Do
it is a
you know what a
theory,
syllogism
right?
is? Don't lie to
It is a
me.
theory, and you have yet to
Steve,
say
Steve,
why the theory
Steve,
is not.
Steve. Do you know what a syllogism is? Don't lie to me. Yes or no?
Yes, but what I'm saying is
Then what is a syllogism?
what I'm saying in terms of what you're trying to say to me is that you are
Steve,
doing the exact same thing.
Steve, can you give the argument with God in the premises?
Well, basically, what you're saying is that my deductive reasoning is not intact, right? That's what you're trying to say.
It's a non sequitur. The moment you're going to invoke God in the argument, it's a non sequitur.
But why? What can I ask
Because there
you?
are no
How do you
premises
know?
that would validate God.
Can I ask you something though?
Can you
How do
give a
you know
syllogism?
what I don't want to say proof. Well, first of all, what is evidence to you? What is evidence to you? I guess if we can
Facts or data
understand
that lead
what
to
evidence is,
facts
then
or
maybe
data that
that'll
lead
get
to a
us on the
specific
same page.
conclusion. Evidence is facts or data that leads to a specific conclusion and raises the likelihood or probability of a specific proposition being true.
My thinking is that evidence is anything that makes a statement more likely to be true.
That's what I just said. Now, can you give evidence for God, sir?
Yeah, there are plenty of evidences.
Can you just give one, please?
Well, I mentioned the Big Bang cosmology, but we'll go to another one.
The Big Bang is not evidence of God. The Big Bang can be explained with a natural cause.
And how do you know that?
Because there are valid natural causes, as I just explained to you in the first fucking sentence I told you.
Yeah,
In
well, I don't
evolutionary
agree.
theory.
I don't agree with that. I don't think that is
Well, you can't just say I don't agree with it and not give a critique of it.
because
You're the biased one, Steve. You're the biased one. So let's
because
be honest and give
I
a
gave
valid
you
critique
I
of
gave you some other
evolutionary theory.
scenarios, and unless you have, like I said before, unless you have ultimate knowledge that is the exact way that the
That's
universe
not my
started,
position. You're
then it is
strawmanning
just
my
a theory.
position, Steve. That's a straw man. I'm not saying that I know for sure that it's the quantum field. I'm saying it's a valid position to hold.
And then you also mentioned, I think
No,
I
Steve,
mentioned,
Steve, this is important. Do you understand what I just told you?
no, I really don't,
Okay. So
because I think
let
that
me
you're
explain
being
this to
a
you real
bit
quick.
biased. But what about
I'm not saying that I know for sure what caused the Big Bang. What I'm saying is there are natural, valid explanations. Do you agree?
when you say natural, what do you mean? Let's make sure we
Without
got.
God. Without God. There's no God needed.
Well, I don't agree with that. I happen not to agree with that
Okay, I understand you
because
don't agree with it, but could you give the critique?
because nothing comes from nothing, right? Can something come from nothing?
All right.
Hmm?
I never said nothing, something came from nothing. I've never said that. I never will. I don't know what that even means. What I'm saying is there's valid natural causes that he's just simply dismissing because he's biased. The same thing he criticized me for doing, he's fucking doing. All right, let's hit the next victim.
Yo,
Hi, how are you?
hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how can we help you? What's your argument for God?
Well, I have a document that I'd like to show you that's my best evidence that I could come up with. Let me see. So, let me see. What do you make of, is it on?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, so what do you make of that right there?
No, I don't see you, but I hear you.
Okay. Is it on now?
No. Freaking creep. All right, get the next victim here.
Hello. Hello?
Coming back from Fortnite. Go back to Fortnite, brother. Guys, I don't think this came from randomness. I don't know why everybody keeps saying that. Right? You think it came from God, a random thing that just went poof and we all magically appeared. You think we come from nothing. What did God make us from? How did God make us from? What did he make us from? Right? See, these questions you can answer. Nobody can answer these questions. Where do we come from? Maybe they're unanswerable questions. Maybe there is no answer. Maybe we just exist. We just do. You know? We don't know. These are very big questions. So instead of saying it must be God, let's just say we don't know what it was, right? We just don't know. That's all. That's the best we can do. I know you want the answer. I know it makes you feel uncomfy, but we just don't know. We have to accept it. We don't know. But let's find out. Let's figure the answer out. You're not going to get the answer by sitting there and praying, pretending. Science is the best way. Keep tapping, guys. We're losing people. This isn't good. We're not going to have a live. If we go below 300, we're not going to be able to go live anymore. What is happening? Why is nobody coming in? Why is nobody coming in?
Hey Mike.
Hi.
Hey what's up؟
No.
ربك الشيء اذا تحكي عن العراق. I fuck your mother, I fuck your ass.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, how's it going? So I have a question for you. Your position is that there is no creator, right? So I will ask you to look at your hand and then tell me, are you the composer of your hand? Did you compose your hand?
No.
No? Okay, then who did? It's your
Nobody.
position. You're saying that there is no creator. So where is the composition? Who composed
Look,
your
Jim.
hand?
Look. There is an entire field of biology that
Right.
dedicated to understanding this question. It's called evolutionary theory. And we have
Evolution
a ton of
theory
evidence.
does not show on how it was presented.
Dwayne, hold on, Dwayne. There's tons of evidence that we are in the process of biological evolution. So
Right.
what explains the fact that I have hands and arms and legs goes back to our genetic code. These genes, by definition, evolve through time. Mutations occur in these genes, allowing us to change through time. Some mutations lead to certain physiological features, like hands and feet. A combination of these changes yield vastly different features over generations. So that's what explains my hand, right? Not a god, right? There's no magic wizard going, oh, poof, let there
Right.
be hands. I'm the hand
Right.
god.
But
That
that's
doesn't
what
exist,
brings me to
right?
my
There's
point.
a biological process that you might be incapable of really comprehending.
No, I don't misunderstand it.
Okay, Dwayne.
I
So
brought this
go ahead and
question.
explain to
I
us what
brought this
evolution is.
question
So,
for a
okay, Dwayne.
reason.
So go ahead and explain evolution to us. I'd love to hear this.
Oh, I don't need to explain evolution because that wasn't my
Oh,
actual
okay. So you
question.
don't even know
I
what you're
brought up this
critiquing.
point. I brought up this point to make it clear on you gathered the information, that knowledge. Where is that knowledge that you gather from? Where is it from?
Reality.
Where is it from?
We get our knowledge from testing reality, doing
Right,
experiments. Yeah.
right. So that knowledge is provided to you.
We observe it from reality, from the
Right.
outside world.
You are observing it, but you're getting that knowledge. That knowledge you don't own.
Nobody's giving it to me, like, like, hey,
Somebody's providing it for you
no,
because it
nobody's
provided
providing it for me,
everything
sir.
for you.
Dwayne.
Something has provided everything.
Dwayne. There's nobody handing out evidence to me or scientific knowledge to me like hotcakes. Get your knowledge here. Hey, get your knowledge. Nobody's giving it to me like that, right? This isn't a side corner on New York Fifth Avenue. We are people who live in this mysterious world, able to observe certain stimuli. Certain stimuli filter into our brains and nervous systems, and we are then able to experiment and analyze this information. That's it. There's no evidence that somebody's giving it to us. It seems deterministic in a way. We don't know. But do you have evidence for God, Dwayne, now? Before I kick you? I'd love to hear evidence for God now.
Like I said, you still are being provided an information that you did not graph on your own. You don't have this knowledge. You're provided. Let's say you're provided a star. You are provided a star, and
We
with
don't know
your
that. We just
ability to
exist, sir.
observe
We
it,
don't know that. We
you
don't
are
know if we're
grabbing that knowledge that someone else has provided for you. Whether you say it's the universe that's provided it for you, you still are arguing that you're grabbing this
nobody's
universe
when you
to
say
be able to
Dwayne,
study it. You can't grab.
when you use words like providing, you're implying agency there. You're implying that somebody's doing it. That's not required. You don't need somebody to give me information. We just fucking happen to be here. There's no need for a god. So I'll give you one more chance, sir. Give evidence for God or go away. One more chance, okay?
That was my point. You're still grabbing information from somewhere that you didn't provide.
Where does God get his information? The super God? He goes to the God store. He gets his God knowledge from the God store. Come on, this is utterly ridiculous. We don't get it from somewhere. We're not buying knowledge. Yep, just as I expected, we are not getting enough people in here, so not looking good, guys, unless we tap the screen and get more people in.